for the season. We have a trio of my favorite beat writers for OSU football. Ben Axelrod, nice start for me. Buckeye Grove here. Kyle Rowland of 11 Warriors and Ari Wasserman of Buckeye Sports Bulletin. Tonight, we're going to be playing a game. It's called Run, Pass, or Kick. The rule's very simple. I'm going to ask these guys a question down the line. The man receiving the question can answer it, pass it to the next guy, or just get rid of the question altogether. All three of you are educated. I think you got it down. So, Ben, we'll start with you. What are the chances that Braxton Miller breaks his single-season school record for total offense?
Well, I think the chances are good, but I think the thing you have to keep in mind with Braxton Miller is that he hasn't stayed healthy for a single season going back to his high school career in Dayton. So going back to his sophomore year in high school, he hasn't been healthy for an entire season. So I think that's something to take into consideration when you look at Braxton Miller's his Heisman chances and his stats for this year.
Now, Cal, I'll follow that up with a Heisman question. What's the biggest roadblock to Braxton winning the most coveted trophy in college football?
Yeah, I kind of piggyback off that first answer. Definitely injuries and a possible loss could derail things because I think being in the national championship game will be important.
No, I'm going to cut in there. I think with all due respect, I think Johnny Football is the biggest roadblock for Braxton.
Not injuries, Johnny Football.
Johnny Football. He's got it all. He's got the hype. He's got the talent. He's got the team. He's got the SEC. He's friends with Drake. I like Johnny Football.
And he's got the cash.
And he's got the cash. Plenty of it from that. If he's eligible to play, which will be the interesting thing to keep an eye on. Ari, why will Urban Meyer start 25-0?
Well, the fact of the matter is that Ohio State really hasn't played anybody of consequence in the first year, and again, they're probably not playing anybody that's too difficult in the following year. So I think that there's road games at Cal and at Northwestern that could be, an issue, and then of course at Michigan, that's a really tough game. But when you look at Ohio State's schedule, as far as all the national powers and the national championship contenders, they're probably got the easiest path there. So if it does happen, that's probably the reason why.
All right, Ben, I'll follow that up. If Ohio State is to lose a game this year, which game on their schedule is the one that's going to cause it?
Well, probably not going to be very popular around Columbus for this one, but it's going to be the Michigan game if they lose a game. Michigan is a very improved team under Brady Hoke. Devin Gardner, doesn't really hamper them as much as Denard Robinson did, and they could play him twice, so that would be the final regular season game and the Big Ten title game. So I think that's, twice the chances to knock them off, and I think Michigan's a very talented team.
You guys all on board with that?
Yeah.
It's Michigan.
Well, it's probably at Cal. I think a lot of people underestimate the Cal game for sure.
Cal was 3-9 last year.
Yeah, but they also have a new head coach who is really, really good. And
you've never seen him coach before.
Traveling all the way across the country is different.
As an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, to me, you go over there and you fly across country for the first time. You play BCS Town for the first time. The climate's different. The time zone's different. To underestimate that game, I think it's just a mistake. I think it'll be closer than a lot of people give the credit for.
All valid points. Kyle, to you, when Carlos Hyde returns from his suspension, who is the player that could stop him from returning to a starting role?
Definitely Rod Smith, who most people expect to be the guy the first 3 games. He came on really well in the spring, had a lot of production last year when he came in during spot duty. So I think Rod Smith's the guy who could kind of wrestle that position well.
Ari, is there a running back on this football team in your mind that has a good chance of becoming Urban Meyer's first ever 1,000-yard rusher?
You mean this year?
This year.
Probably not. I think Carlos Hyde would have been that guy. Had been available all year. 3 games, especially against the teams that are going to be playing, and during those 3 games he'll be missing. It's not going to help him, missing those time. And then I think there's going to be, like you just said, some players that are going to step into the running back role and really earn some time once he returns to the lineup. So I think in the future, believe it or not, and I don't want to buy the hype too quickly yet, but I think Dontre Wilson might be an interesting player in the next few years. He might not be running back full time, but if he can break off some big runs, a few times, and he could really, challenge that in the future.
Yeah, but as we come to you, this recruiting class, a lot of guys that have been hyped up, Jalen Marshall and especially Dontre Wilson, as already just touched on. Which freshman has the best chance of unseating an upperclassman, in your opinion?
I like Mike Mitchell. I like big middle linebacker out of Texas. Curtis Grant, we hear the hype about him. We heard the same hype last year, and he got replaced by Storm Klein. So I don't know why Mike Mitchell wouldn't be able to do the same. So on the defensive side of the ball especially, I really like Mike Mitchell.
Prediction. I really do like that. Kyle, Ohio State eclipsed 50 points 4 times last year. How many times do you think Urban Meyer's offense can do that in year 2?
5 or 6. I have no idea who the opponent will be, but they're going to score a lot.
Eventually they will do it. All right, you on the defensive side, who will have a bigger impact on the defensive line? Obviously, they're replacing 4 starters from a year ago. 2 guys that headline Adolphus Washington or Noah Spence. Who do you expect a bigger year from?
Both of those guys came into Ohio State as really highly talented prospects, but we've been able to watch one practice this year, and that one person that stood out more than the other was Adolphus Washington. Down at Cincinnati Taft, he was pretty much unstoppable. He looks like a 40-year-old man already, and just like seriously, the guy's unbelievable on the line so far, especially from what we've seen so far in fall camp. So Noah Spence is probably going to be really good as well. But right now, my guess is the Dolphins, Washington.
A lot of sound. The final question, Ben, it comes to you. The defense allowed their most points per game in 7 years last season, just under 23. Over/under, will they allow more or less than 20 points this season?
I think probably less. I think the defense last year, they were kind of, you had the Tressel staff on the defensive side of the ball with Luke Fickell still kind of meshing with the Urban Meyer staff. And that really, skewed some numbers. I really think the defense is going to be steady this year. I think it's going to be really improved and definitely be a strength of the team.
I'll let you get final words. You both agree?
Yeah, I think it'll be a night and day difference.
Night and day difference.
Yeah, no question about it.
Not surprised. None of you decided to kick. Doesn't surprise me. I know you wanted your FaceTime, so that you guys certainly got fantastic job. Appreciate you guys coming down. We now move to the links. The President's Cup is coming to Muirfield Golf.